Today we are going to be creating our own kinetic sand. So the science behind kinetic sand has to do with polymers. Polymers are substances that are composed of very large molecules called macromolecules. And these macromolecules are molecules that are made up of many repeating smaller molecules called monomers. Due to their large molecular mass, polymers have unique physical properties such as toughness, high elasticity, and viscoelasticity. Polymers make up many of the materials in living organisms. So kinetic sand is sand that has been combined with some sort of polymer. In professionally created kinetic sand that you may find at Walmart or whatnot, this polymer is typically going to be a silicone oil. In our experiment today, the polymer is a combination of cornstarch and dish soap. So for this experiment, we're going to need sand, obviously, cornstarch, dish soap, and some water. So now we'll kind of take a look at an attempt at this experiment. Tried it two different ways. The first one here, just kind of pouring the sand into a bowl, and then in a separate bowl, we're going to take some, in this one, we're combining the cornstarch with the sand, giving that a good little mix here. And then in a separate bowl, we're going to get just some water, and we're going to combine that with some dish soap. And then we'll get that all mixed together here. Then once we have these two things, we're just going to combine some of it. Now, I think my problem here is I poured a little too much water in there. Once it gets pretty well mixed together here, you'll see it's pretty runny. It kind of just had the consistency of wet sand. So you can kind of see here, I'll scoop some up, kind of let it run down. Yeah, just kind of wet sand. I think if I would have added a little bit less water, probably would have worked out a little bit better. So then we tried another method. In this one, we have the sand by itself in a bowl. We're going to put some cornstarch in another bowl here, and then combine that with a lot of dish soap. So that way the cornstarch dish soap combination kind of becomes almost a slime. It's taking a while for it to actually start to kind of thicken up here. But then we get to the point where, again, I think I kind of added a little too much. It gets very thick very quickly here. So then we'll attempt to combine some of that with the sand. But I think what kind of went wrong with this one is it was just too thick. Couldn't really mix into the sand at all. It was more so the sand was just sticking to it. Kind of as one piece, really. So then we have kind of a side-by-side comparison here. So the first one is very runny, very just kind of wet sand, and the other one too thick. So kind of have two ends of the extreme here. So yeah, that was creating our own kinetic sand.